I just want consistency. I just want us, if we are going to have opinions and give takes and give critiques or give analysis, I just want consistency. I don't think that's a lot to ask for, but a lot of people in sports media do apparently. The Chiefs lose to the Buffalo Bills, and I knew this was already going to happen because it happens every year with the Chiefs, which is, and it's been happening especially this year, the Chiefs, it doesn't matter how ugly the loss, doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter how pretty the loss or how ugly the win. It doesn't matter. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and we all just have to accept and kiss the rings of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Even though there's several measurables and different metrics that would show you that even though this is the two-time defending champ, even though they are the current dynasty in the NFL, they are much closer to the end of that run versus the beginning. We never want to admit this in sports, and especially once a team has won, most dynasties close really quickly, which is why most of them never become dynasties in the first place. Teams win a title, and then you think because they have the star player, and they just won, and they have the great head coach, and a good front office, we're like, this is going to last forever, and boom, it's over much quicker than you think. Russell Wilson, when he was younger, with the Seahawks, that was supposed to be a dynasty. The Legion of Boom, win a Super Bowl, lose a Super Bowl, never make it back, boom, it's over, they all hate each other. This current version of the San Francisco 49ers, they've gone with two different quarterbacks, but this core have been to multiple NFC championship games, have been to multiple Super Bowls, and the expectation, myself included, was, well, they're just going to be great as long as they have Kyle Shanahan and these set of guys. They're 5-5. Most dynasties, and it doesn't matter the sport, Giannis went at his potential physical athletic prime, wins the title, and best player on the planet has a 50-point closeout game, and we're like, Giannis is about to take over. Have you seen the Bucks lately? Let's just be consistent about how we evaluate these things. Dynasties don't last forever, and this version of the Kansas City Chiefs is not a great football team. Are they at least a very good football team? Obviously. I don't think between Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo, I don't think they could be a bad football team. I think they have too much good coaching that goes on. But why we don't treat this team, this specific version, this specific year, like we treat the Steelers, the Steelers just got a great win against Baltimore. People feel better about the Chiefs losing to the Bills again than they do about the Steelers getting a great win. When neither offense is dynamic, both have great defenses, and both have, and I know this is cliche and you're going to kill me for it, but both have Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Yeah, I know. I'm a little bit of a hater. But the reality is, those two teams, and I've been on this point all season, those are very similar teams. Ironically, that's also the 1 and 2 seed in the AFC. Them and Buffalo. Sorry, they're in the top 3 seeds. They're fighting for the 1 seed. Them, Buffalo, and Kansas City are the 3 teams that could potentially get the 1 seed. And even Buffalo, we acknowledge Josh Allen has taken a step back from being a super dynamic, do-everything playmaker, and he's getting less turnovers, and he's more efficient, and the Bills are winning because they are relying on Josh Allen less than they have in previous years. But we say that about Mahomes, it's sacrilegious. It's like, oh my gosh, how can you say that about him? He's the greatest ever this, he's the greatest ever that. He just, at one point in time, even the biggest Mahomes, again, let's be consistent. Let's just be consistent. Stop changing the narrative just to fit that week what you wanted. One of the biggest Mahomes he's a fan of the team, but fanboys or biggest supporters, Nick Wright, I'll always remember this. He used to say that there was a distinction between, he said Mahomes is unrivaled because the distinction between Brady and Manning early in their careers when they had a rivalry is because Peyton was winning all of the individual statistic awards and he was the guy throwing for 4,000 yards and he was the guy doing all of this stuff from a offensive perspective, and it looked prettier than Brady, who was more of probably the greatest game manager we've ever seen, as well as having a strong defense and head coach. It was more of a cultural thing with Brady, but he was winning all the rings. And he used to say Mahomes does both. He's like, Mahomes has all the individual awards, and he's got all the team success. Post Tyreek Hill, we have 1 year of that being true. We are now multiple years post Tyreek Hill, And the offense post Tyreek Hill, post teams figuring out how to play defense against Patrick Mahomes. Again yesterday, yeah, he threw 3 touchdowns, also threw 2 interceptions. These plays that we are used to him making because of him extending the play, running downfield for a first down 11, 12 yards, or throwing on the run, these plays that has made him famous, he's no longer doing that as efficient. So he's no longer the great all-time statistical guy plus the all-time winner. He's just not. That's just not who he's been post that first year without Tyreek Hill. People are catching on to the Kansas City offense. These other coaches, the other coordinators, they get paid too. They are starting to figure this out. And all of these close games, yes, maybe the Chiefs were coming from a place so high when Kelsey was still in his athletic prime and Chris Jones in his athletic prime and obviously Mahomes in his athletic prime that they were far above everybody else. But they have come back down to earth. That's why they're in all these close games. That's why they were supposed to lose last week. Now, the coaching is great. I'm not got nothing negative to say about what Reed and Spagnuolo do. The coaching is fantastic. We've seen now twice in the last 2 weeks. First, the Chiefs blocked kick on Denver, and now Green Bay's block kicked on Chicago. Now this is the first time in my life I've ever heard stories about, yeah, we're watching the trajectory of the ball and, the way the guy sets up, and that's how we knew to crash this one side or how I've never heard that in my life, and I've heard that in back-to-back weeks. So I don't deny that the coaching, what Reed and Spagnuolo do, that's what this team is now. They are a great coached, older stars, and a bunch of young guys. And that gets them to this point, but this is no longer some dominant, clearly the best team in the NFL. And that loss, again, they could have lost the week prior. All these games are coming down to one possession, one play, one possession. The Chiefs are not this dominant 9-1 team. They could very easily be 5-4, 6-3. Again, going all the way back, the season started where Baltimore could have won if we got a toe in. They don't blow people out, and it's going to really show its head because this is where we evaluated the Steelers. The Steelers a couple years ago when Ben Roethlisberger, there was one of the last years of Ben Roethlisberger, and they got off to the 11-0 start, and no one took him seriously. No one took him seriously because we had that style of play when your quarterback is no longer in the upper echelon of the elites of football, and you have to rely on your defense, and your offense is just scraping by even with weapons. No one takes it seriously. No one's ever vindicated that kind of a Super Bowl champion or best team in the NFL. That's just never how we've done it. And to start now is disingenuous. It's not consistent. But again, the media was so wrong last year, and because they won the Super Bowl last year, no one wants to sit there and say, oh, they're not going to do it because you're going to look like an idiot on national television. So let me be the idiot on national television. Not YouTube. Same thing. Let's just be consistent with how we rate these teams. Kansas City is the Pittsburgh Steelers wearing red. And no one's scared of the Steelers. And I don't think no one should be scared of the Chiefs in that same capacity. And we're going to get the greatest test because everybody's looked great against Carolina, except the other truly awful teams. Let's see how Kansas City looks against Carolina. Because I guarantee if that game, are we going to then start changing our minds on how good or great they are? If they play Carolina and you see the same type of game, the same kind of offensive struggles, the same kind of not getting consistent offense, and these one possession, if they're in a one possession game late with Carolina, are we going to start looking at them a little funny? Man, it was a great weekend for me. Look, Chiefs lost. Love it. I'm a hater, but I can be fair too. I just want the consistency. And Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos won 6-5, balled out. I know people are going to leave the chat right now. It's fine. Bo put up the first rookie quarterback in NFL history to go 80% completion, 4+ touchdowns, 300+ yards. He did everything fantastic. And this is why, and I will bring this up as long as I continue to do this, the great quote by Chris Carter, Hall of Fame receiver, 99% of players in the NFL are system players. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't need Bo Nix to be generational. I don't need Bo Nix to be the system. I don't need Bo Nix to be the 1% of guys ever to play this game. But what Bo Nix has done, and you see it not just in the way that, not just what the stats are showing you, but just the way that he plays and the way that you can see he's clearly learning what Sean Payton is doing for him. What Sean Payton is doing for him is getting him, hey, this is my offense, and we'll start incorporating the things that you like to get you the easy throws, and then we'll transition you from what you were doing at Oregon and Auburn into what we're going to do in the NFL. His feet are more secure. His footwork is getting better on a week-to-week basis, which is reflecting in his arm strength. If you saw the throw to Vele yesterday, zip, boom, that's footwork, that's technique. You do not have to be some superstar level talent to succeed. I've said this since the beginning of the season. Caleb Williams has more talent. Jaden Daniels has more talent. Drake May has more talent. McCarthy and Penix, slightly similar built, but if you want to say they're more talented, fine. You could say the 5 guys drafted in front of him were meant to be drafted in front of him because they were better or more talented. Cool. But Sean Payton had a goal in mind. He had an idea, and he stuck with it. How many times have we talked about franchises that are on different pages than each other? The head coach isn't on the same page as the GM. The GM's on the same page as the owner. And because of that, they draft the wrong guy. They don't get the right coach. They're not everybody's on the same page, and you can't go anywhere as a franchise when you're all running different directions and you've all got different ideas and you've all got different goals. The Broncos figured out, and Sean Payton figured out, this is the guy I want. This is what we can do with him. And he wrote up a vision. He wrote up a game plan. And say what you want about his struggles to start the year. All the rookie quarterbacks struggled to start the year. Caleb's still struggling. Jaden Daniels is still struggling right now. He obviously got off to the best start. But Jaden Daniels is struggling right now. Bo Nix is the only rookie quarterback from start to where he is right now where you see early struggles, starts to figure it out, and now we're seeing him get better and better and better. He doesn't need to be Caleb Williams for a talent on a talent level. He's not. He doesn't need to be Jaden Daniels on a talent level. He's not. But if you were to close the offensive rookie of the year race right now, how do you not give it to the guy with the most total yards, the most total touchdowns, and the guy who has this, by the way, and this is Bo's for if you want to get really nerdy about it. Jaden Daniels, yes, has one more win. He also has no wins against a team above 500. Jaden Daniels, and him and Caleb Williams both did this, because Caleb's best 3-game stretch were against a very injured Rams team, the Panthers, the Jaguars. They were both beating up the clearly awful teams in the NFL. Bo has wins against teams that are above 500. And I know the Charger game, they're down 23-0. Fine. Played like shit in the Chargers game. Cool. Guess what? Rookies are going to have bad games. That happens. The teams are going to have bad games. That happens. But start to finish, Sean Payton had a goal. Bo has delivered on the goal. They're in unison. The team is going defensively. And again, right now, and Bo's got wins against more above 500 teams. So this is something that is sustainable. This is not just beating up the dregs of the league, and that's where you get most of your stats. And you get these kind of awards that feel, did you accomplish as much as the other guy? Bo's wins against teams above 500. He's getting better week to week. Just had his now best game is better than everybody else's best game. Take Caleb's best game, take Jaden's best game, take Drake May. And Tony and I are going to talk about this a little bit. I like the talent of all these guys. And I say they're all better than Bo. But coaching, a direction, that's how you get the offensive rookie of the year. And if we pulled the ballots right now, Bo Nix is the offensive rookie of the year in the NFL.